What's up guys and welcome back to the final week of Knockoff November. Earlier this year, I actually showed off a Clone Army Customs Galactic Marine, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I mentioned how I wished I could also get the AV Figures version, and the reason for that is because this knockoff minifigure is actually based around AVs. Now I do know that I made a whole video talking about the integrity of all this, but I really wanted to talk a little bit about it more here while I show this off because, well, in all honesty, this is probably one of my favorite knockoff minifigures. Sure, the gun that's included is a little too big, but the actual design, color, and even the printing on this is pretty nice. The helmet is obviously one of the more unique ones that we get amongst clones and later what we see with snowtroopers, and I think this version actually does a pretty good job at recreating it. You can tell that it's supposed to be cloth as opposed to just a hard white surface. And while the goggles/visors aren't perfect, I think it's pretty good. And I'll be completely honest in saying that I have 10 of these, and on every single one the printing like this is perfectly fine. Which I only point out because usually when you get a bunch of these you'll notice that there is some inconsistency, but for some reason, at least in my case, not with these guys. So overall, I think that this minifigure does do what it is supposed to do. It looks like a Galactic Marine, and it's only $1 after all. Now obviously there are some noticeable differences when I line it up next to the Clone Army Customs version, and keep in mind that this is their older helmet, but you can very specifically see what I mean with it. The CAC version doesn't look like it's supposed to be cloth or anything. It just looks like a hard white part of a helmet. The visor isn't any separate, and it's way too big on it as well, but again, he did update this. The bodies are quite distinctly different, but then again, you can see similarities as they are meant to represent the same character. However, like I said, this is meant to be a recreation of AV Figures version, which is the one that I have here. And again, there are several key differences here, actually. The first are the helmets. Now, AV Figures helmets are pretty distinct compared to both CAC and the knockoff version, but I still don't think that these are 100% the best. You can definitely tell that this is more of a cloth than in CAC's version, and the visor looks much better than in the knockoff version, but I still think that the knockoff version actually represents the cloth aspect much better. But when it comes to the rest of it, the clearest place to see the quote-unquote inspiration is in the legs, as these are in fact pretty darn similar. In fact, they're almost exactly the same, with obviously AVs being better. Now, while I show the rest of these minifigures, I did want to mention that in that last video I talked about several different things, including how there are different target demographics for this. For the knockoff minifigures, the American audience is not the main audience. It's usually only for people in Asia who have never heard of AV Figures for one reason or another. Now, that doesn't make it okay because artist integrity is still definitely a thing, but after finally being able to actually buy AV's Galactic Marine, well, this knockoff version is not AV's Galactic Marine. Yes, they are extremely similar, but there's still enough differences that they both stand on their own. Yes, I can see the inspiration between the two, but then again, I could literally be saying the same thing between AV Figures and Clone Army Customs. It's kind of just what happens when you all make things based off of the same entity. But that said, AVs is still my favorite, and I'll definitely be doing a review of it at some point in 2023. So that rounds off Knockoff November. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to like if you liked what you saw, and subscribe for future videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.